So, hi, I'm Jenna. Today I'm refuting the claim that an advocate made that the media promotes a rape culture. And the definition of a rape culture is a culture in which dominant cultural ideologies, media images, social practices, and social institutions support and condone sexual abuse. And the media is the news stations, newspapers, radio stations, forms of communication, and throughout the mass population. The secondary claims that my advocate made was that one, that the media excuses offenders in rape cases, two, that the media teaches the wrong message to prevent rape, and three, that the media promotes movies that normalize sexual violence. My main claim is that the media does not promote rape culture and actually can help spread awareness. My supporting claims are one, that the media alerts and spreads awareness of sex offenders, that two, that media teaches both men and women how to prevent rape from happening, and lastly, that the media brings awareness to the issue of rape and how often it happens. The media does not excuse rapists for what they have done. In fact, it actually helps bring awareness to what is going on and how often it's happening. An example of the way the media helps prevent potential rapists and protect children and women are Amber Alerts, which I'm sure everyone has seen one this summer with the blue Nissan. An Amber Alert is a voluntary partnership between law enforcement agencies, broadcasters, transportation agencies, and the wireless industry to activate an urgent bulletin in the most serious child abductions, which, even though it's like kidnappings, that can also be also relate to rapists and whatnot. The U.S. Justice Department reported in the past year there have been 672 recoveries due to the Amber Alert. Another way the media lets the public know about sex offenders that have the potential to prey on children or women is through Megan's Law, which is a law that makes all surrounding sex offenders they're registered on the website, which is really easy to access now, which is easy. The U.S. Department of Justice has reported 81,344 registered sex offenders in California alone. Which is why this kind of relates back to how media, without this, we wouldn't really have that ability to know who's around us, who you live near, really. So it's not taking this, the sex offenders or rapists side. It's actually proving how they are not, or where they are and what they're doing. All right. My second supporting claim is that the media teaches both women and also men how to prevent rape, rather than just teaching women, as my advocate said, teaching women don't get raped, rather than teaching men not to rape. So the claim, however, there is also media coverage of how men and boys are both being taught not to rape, and how they're making efforts to raise awareness of how men can also prevent rape along with women. The one organization is called Male Rape Prevention. They go onto college campuses and let college students know how they can help stop rape, such as drinking less alcohol, not putting themselves in the position where they may be tempted to, and learning how to take no as the answer. My third supporting claim is that the media brings awareness to the issue of rape and how often it happens. My advocate had said something about how Blurred Lines was banned in 5 UK universities, but as compared to the rest of the world, and outlook on that is honestly it's only 5, and it's not that significant. An example of how the media can actually help promote rape awareness is in movies. Even though they're fiction, 3 movies that are examples of that are Taken, Lovely Bones, and The Call. So just knowing that kind of gives people awareness that it does go on, even though they're kind of extreme cases, it still brings attention to people. And then a true account of how the media brings awareness to rape is a documentary called The Invisible War. It's an Oscar-nominated documentary that brings attention to rape and sexual violence. Director Rick Kirby said that every time more attention is brought to the issue, there's more activity in Washington. So it's just saying how still the media is actually doing something about it, not just promoting this rape culture. In conclusion, the media does not promote a rape culture, rather it brings awareness to the issue of rape and what society can do to stop it. Thank you all for listening.
All right, well, you define rape culture and the media pretty effectively. That gives you a wide latitude for talking about anything that might be preventative, and also to discuss what the contributory factors are. I think that the advocates' arguments about rape culture are not very well explained, and they're not directly attacked. You've got kind of an indirect attack that's going on here. You do present a counterclaim on the first point that says that the media doesn't really excuse rape, and you've got a couple of examples here. The Amber Alert thing is an indirect example. I understand what you're talking about here. The correlation to that and child abduction and rape needs to be a little bit stronger, but that the media is a part of that process, that's okay. But what's the evidence that the advocate uses about the media excusing rape? There's no discussion of what the examples are that the advocate used, whether or not they're making an adequate inference, and whether or not it's the result of the media, or is the media simply reflecting what people in the culture are saying as opposed to preaching that sort of thing. The Megan's Law thing, I think, is a little bit more applicable because it's directly related to sex offenders. And your definition of media is broad enough that it would include access to information online. So I think that there's a legitimate argument on that point. But once again, there's no real discussion of what the advocate's evidence on this particular point, or how they reasoned whether or not that seems like it's a legitimate conclusion. Excuse me. On the second point that you present, again, it's a counterclaim. I think you've got an idea here that there is, in fact, the idea that people are going to promote anti-rape culture, but all you've got is a vague group that you make a reference to. I didn't hear any information that suggested that the media is promoting this particular group, and I think there's a premise behind the argument that seems to suggest that because we teach young women how to avoid rape, that is in some way blaming them for rape. That's not any more true of that than it is any other crime. It's like how to avoid dying in a car accident doesn't make you responsible for dying in a car accident. We're just telling you, wear a seatbelt. That's less likely to do it. Well, I shouldn't have to wear a seatbelt if everybody else is not driving recklessly. That's a silly kind of way to reason, and I think that ought to be something that you can challenge, the premise of the argument that the advocate presented. You've kind of got a weaker response here by presenting this vague group that's out there maybe doing something about this, and I think you're letting the advocate get away with an interesting interpretation of how information might be read. On the other argument, it's again, I don't know how I'm going to contrast 5 universities banning blurred lines versus 3 movies that talk about rape and murder. How am I supposed to make a comparison on this? I think there needs to be a stronger explanation on that. I did like the last one that shows that the media is addressing this issue because we've got this one movie that mentions it. It draws attention to it at a national level. I thought that was pretty effective. All right.